머리가 깨질 것 같아. 몸도 무거워. 어떻게 된 거지? 손이... 엄마, 아빠! 잠깐 눈만 감았다 뜬 것 같은데 그곳은 완전히 다른 공간이 되어 있었다. 그날 이후로 모든 것이 변해버렸다. 이 저주받은 손 때문에.
The male Slayer is one of many unfortunate characters in the world of DFO, as they are afflicted with a curse known as the Kazan syndrome, commonly known as the ghost arm. Those cursed are essentially put on death row, as there is no known cure. At best, the cursed arm is shackled down with special chains to prevent one from falling into frenzy, since the arm is said to have a mind of its own. In severe cases, both arms may be infected, and therefore both arms need to be shackled down, further adding to the stress and mental irritability. And if that wasn't enough, they're constantly bombarded with visions of ghosts and temptations to give their mind over to the frenzy and slaughter. And it gets worse. They also attract monsters and other unholy beings, so they never stay in one place for so long. Worse still, they're often seen as omens within local villages and are either quickly cast out, or worse, killed. Life as a Slayer sucks. Armed with only a sword as their faithful companion, the Slayer set out into the world with the thrill of adventure, as well as look for ways to overcome their demons within.
뭐야? 갑자기 깜짝 놀랐잖아. 단체로 산책이라도 나오셨나? 대낮부터 쓰레기들이 나돌아다니면 안 되지. 싹 쓸어주마. 야!
Known as Masters of Arms, the Blade Masters dedicate themselves solely on their weapons. While it would be easy for an average Slayer to be enticed by the power of that Ghost Arm, to a Blade Master, it is only a mere hindrance. Through sheer force of will, focus, blood, sweat, and tears, and a whole lot of them, Blade Masters tirelessly swing their weapons day in and day out. With the help of an additional tool called the Regulator, the Ghost Arms are further suppressed, turning them white and giving the Slayer free movement of their cursed limbs as long as one maintains their concentration, even during food and sleep. Their main weapon of choice is a sword made entirely of light and energy. And yes, I know what you're thinking, it's a lightsaber. And that's what they're called literally in-game. Real subtle there. But these energy swords have some benefits, as they further drive over their spirits, giving them more room to focus. While Blade Masters offer nothing in terms of raw power, they make up for them in their proficiency. Their ultimate goal is to reach the absolute pinnacle of their art, no matter how arduous that may be. Those who learned to control their cursed arm were able to commune and cooperate with the very demons that tempt them. The Soulbenders are exactly that. Many would either loosen or completely throw away their chains and replace them with special tattoos that prevent their arm from going wild at a minimum. As their name suggests, the Soulbenders are able to bend the ghosts to their commands and completely subjugate them, usually assisting in combat or otherwise. However, this cooperation comes with a fatal drawback, as the souls of the damned aren't too happy to be commanded by a living mortal. One must be strong, both body and in mind, in order to rule over them. Show any signs of weakness or hesitation, then the damned souls will gladly drag you back into their realm and make you suffer for all eternity. But they're also aware of this and are willing to continue this dark pact and risk everything on the line. As long as they remain their alpha status within their relationship, then it's a ticking time bomb waiting to happen. Those desperate for power will use any means to get it, even at the cost of their own lives. Now, the common misconception surrounding the Berserker is that they have succumbed to the Kazan syndrome fully and are just running around hacking people up willy-nilly. This is completely untrue, as they have a tiny bit of rationality within them. Berserkers simply accept the vast amount of risk that the curse brings them, and will use the power that it grants however they see fit. But because of this, they're naturally very violent. Many citizens and fellow adventurers of Aura view them as hindrance, and will generally steer clear if one encounters a Berserker. Also, due to their feral and reckless nature, they naturally have a short life expectancy. So it wasn't uncommon to see a body of a dead Berserker surrounded by a bunch of other dead monster corpses. Just like I mentioned before back in my DNF duel video, the Berserkers have the unique ability to absorb the blood of their enemies and add their own, increasing their chances of their already meager survival just to fight another day, or live, or whatever. And if you do manage to hire a Berserker in your party somehow, he'll likely to charge ahead before anyone else can formulate a plan. Anyway, the Berserkers grow more powerful when they enter into a state called metamorphosis. This process is very risky and the chances of survival is very slim as the blood and bones literally break and rupture out of their bodies. And if they do survive this process, they become more ferocious than ever before and become the very embodiment of violence, having so much renewed vim and vigor to the point that they become a force of nature of carnage and blood. Now, Asura's lore has been drastically retconned since the old days of DFO. Initially, Asura had his sight taken away due to the Kazan syndrome going out of his control, but now in his current new lore, he chose to go blind on purpose to stave off the temptations and to better understand the force of energy known as the waves. Needless to say, the sudden shift in his lore wasn't really received well at first, as it was not that interesting and it turned Asura into a bit of a goofball. But over time his lore eventually flashed out, and thanks to recently released DNF Mobile in Korea, we get to see the reason as to why. Now, it is said that the waves can completely lull the Kazan syndrome at the cost of individual sight, and with their unique plate armor they're able to see with their entire body, which I call bullshit cause these dudes are shown half naked most of the time and showing off their rock hard abs. I mean, just take a look at them. They look like they could shatter diamonds with those things. Where was I? Oh yes, and thanks to the waves, they're also able to use magic. Now this part may be considered pointless, but it is an established canon that Asura has a heart of gold. He is very well known for putting others first before himself, rather than the usual battle-ready edginess that the Slayer already emits.
바둥거리고 있구나. 붉은 소나기에서 벗어나기 위해.
A wandering Slayer from Shuju, the Ghostblade had the unluckiest childhood as he was branded a monster by his own village and many attempted to take his life. Fleeing didn't help either because, well, now he's a walking monster magnet. To defend himself, he just walked right into a local dojo in Shuju and learned the way of the sword. And then he just went on his merry way, casually hacking and slashing at any monsters that came in his way. Unfortunately, his killing spree didn't last very long as he was on the verge of death. However, this carnage and bloodshed did not go unnoticed, as this attracted the attention of a masked specter. Impressed by the Slayer's tenacity, he just walked up to him and was like, "Hey yo, you don't look so hot. You want my help? I'm dying!" Cool. And just like that, one possession of a body and a fusion of souls later, bada beam, bada boom, Ghostblade. Hooray! Now, since the Slayer houses two souls in one body, he now stands on the border between man and ghost. This rare, once-in-a-lifetime occurrence is called the Ghostman syndrome. This frees him from the influence of the Kazan syndrome, symbolized by his blue arm, and gives him a pale, ghastly complexion. And here you may think, huh, that's it? That ain't too bad. Well, this is actually a curse in disguise. While it does free the Slayer from his Kazan syndrome, it does so at the cost of his humanity and compassion, thereby making him cold, ruthless, and unfeeling. The Ghostblade himself is a living contradiction, as they're now two but one. They're the same yet aren't, dead and yet alive. And finally, one taking after each other, as in I become you, you become me sort of situation. This theme is further driven home in Ghostblade's Neo Awakening. As it is stated in their story, the more past memories and techniques that the ghost remembers and passes on to the Slayer, the more expressive and alive he becomes, as the latter becomes more cruel, unfeeling, cold, and battle-hungry. Now forever bound to a ghost, guided by his phantom partner, devoid of human heart and reasoning, they wander from place to place, fueled by battle and bloodshed, striking fear into the hearts of his enemies. Hi guys, welcome to the end of the video. At the time of this recording, it is now June 26th. DNF Duel will be releasing on June 28th. I hope you guys have a great time with this game, those who pre-ordered and whatnot. I wanted to get this out sooner, but my general laziness prevented me from doing so. Anyways, who cares about lore? Who cares about lores in video games anyways? Anyways, leaving the self-deprecation aside, I hope you guys have a great time with the game. As a fighting game enthusiast slash casual myself, I wanted to get the game myself. But alas, money's a bit tight, and I don't have a good, decent, hardware to run it. Maybe someday. And yeah, if you're new, please give it a like and subscribe, a comment, and hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye. Man, I miss playing games on my channel. I really do.